In the cold edge of the galaxy, far from the bright center of trade and war, floated a quiet system. Most star maps marked it only as Sector X-47, dead, silent, and not worth visiting. But alien archaeologist Sarek thought differently. Sarek belonged to the Thalkar Dominion, a proud alien race known for science and order. He was tall, with pale skin like silver glass and sharp black eyes. He had studied ancient space ruins for 20 years, looking for signs of lost civilizations. His latest find was unusual. An old star map hidden deep under a ruined moon. The map pointed toward Sector X-47. His friends warned him. "That system is cursed," they said. "Ships disappear there. It's a waste of time." But Sarek was curious. And sometimes curiosity is more powerful than fear. He flew alone in his ship, the Silent Claw, toward the forgotten system. As he arrived, his scanners showed a single planet, Earth. It was dark, lifeless, covered in dust and clouds, no cities, no signals, no heat, just silence. Strange, Sarek whispered to himself. This planet once had water, forests, cities, but now, nothing. What happened here? He landed in what used to be a large human city. Skyscrapers had fallen, roads were broken, and metal skeletons of old machines lay everywhere. But no bodies, no bones, just emptiness, like everyone had vanished at once. Sarek walked through the ruins, his boots crunching on broken glass. He found writing on a wall, English, an old human language. His translator read it aloud. "Here stood the last bastion of mankind. We wait in silence." That sent a chill down Sarek's back. He moved deeper into the city, reaching a hill where a strange signal was coming from. His scanner beeped faster and faster. Below the hill, covered by layers of dust and rock, was a metal structure, a door. Sarek activated his tools and cleared the rubble. The door was round and massive, sealed tight. It had glowing lines of energy running through it, still active after all this time. On the center of the door, one word was written in large, bold letters: warning. Below it, in many alien languages, it said, "Do not awaken the sleeper." Sarek stared at the warning. He knew what he should do: leave, report it, let others decide. But his hands moved on their own. He touched the control pad, entered the override. Codes, and the door began to open with a deep rumble. Behind the door was a long tunnel filled with flickering lights. The air was thick but breathable. Sarek stepped inside, walking slowly, carefully. At the end of the tunnel was a chamber, and in the center of that chamber was a pod. It was tall and golden, with strange symbols etched on its surface. Inside, it was a being, taller than any Sarek had ever seen, wearing black and gold armor, glowing faintly with energy. His face was calm, eyes closed, hands resting on a strange object that looked like both a staff and a weapon. The being looked human. Sarek checked his data. The DNA matched early human records. But this human was different. He was stronger, larger, and surrounded by a strange force that made Sarek's scanners act wild. A panel on the pod lit up. A voice spoke in ancient Earth standard, stasis time. 12,000 years. Systems stable. Guardian, Saul. Status, alive. Saul. Sarek whispered. "You're the sleeper?" Suddenly, the lights turned brighter. The pod hissed. Energy flowed through the chamber. The being inside slowly opened his eyes. They glowed a deep blue, full of power and memories. Saul sat up. Sarek backed away, afraid. His hands trembled. And for the first time in years, he didn't know what to say. Saul looked around. "Earth," he said softly, his voice deep and calm. "Still standing?" Sarek found his voice. I am Sarek of the Thalkar Dominion. You were in stasis. We thought Earth was dead." Saul stepped out of the pod. His armor shined even in the dim light. "It was not dead," he said. "It was sleeping." "But the galaxy has changed," Sarek said. "Humans are gone. No one knows what happened to them. They vanished." Saul walked to a panel and touched it. The walls glowed, showing stars, maps, battles. "We sealed ourselves," he explained. "After the War of the Void Wraiths, we were too strong, too dangerous. We left the galaxy to grow without us." "You mean you left by choice?" Sarek asked in disbelief. "Yes," Saul nodded, "and I was left behind, to wake only if Earth was ever found again." "Why?" Sarek asked. "Why leave someone behind?" Saul's eyes glowed brighter. "Because some things must be remembered." Then Saul raised his hand. A broken machine in the corner floated into the air, repaired itself in seconds, and landed softly on the floor, working perfectly. Sarek fell to his knees. He had seen technology. He had seen powerful aliens, but nothing like this. This human didn't just use machines. He commanded them. "You're not just a man," Sarek whispered. "You're something more." Saul turned toward him. "I am one of the last guardians of Earth, and now I ask you, Sarek of Thalkar, why have you come?" Sarek didn't know what to say, and far above, in space, Saul's awakening sent ripples across the galaxy. Old satellites turned on. Silent. Machines whispered again. Earth was waking, and somewhere, across the stars, the galaxy began to tremble, because a human god had opened his eyes. Saul, the sleeper of Earth, stood tall inside the underground chamber. His black and gold armor gave off a soft glow. The room around him seemed to breathe with energy. The machines were no longer silent. They hummed, moved, and responded to his presence. Sarek, the alien archaeologist, could barely believe what he was seeing. You're human?" Sarek asked again, even though he already knew the answer. Saul turned to him. "Yes, human, once. Now, something more." The way Saul spoke was calm, steady, and full of power. His eyes, glowing blue like twin stars, looked at Sarek not with anger but curiosity. "Tell me, Sarek of the Thalkar," Saul said, "what year is it?" Sarek looked down at his device. "Galactic Standard Year 9225. Saul nodded slowly. "So, over 12,000 years have passed." Sarek asked, "What happened to your people? What happened to Earth?" Saul turned and touched a wall. A large screen came alive. Stars, planets, and battles flashed across it. The colors were old, faded, but the story was clear. "We fought a war against the Void Wraiths," Saul said. "Creatures from beyond space. They fed on stars. They destroyed entire galaxies." Sarek's eyes widened. "I've read old legends, but I thought they were myths." "They were real," Saul replied, "and we humans stopped them, but stopping them came with a price." The images changed. Planets burned. Fleets exploded. Massive machines with human symbols fought creatures made of shadow. "We became something the galaxy feared," Saul said quietly. "Too powerful. Too dangerous. So we left. We sealed Earth. We sealed ourselves. We left behind only guardians." Sarek stepped back. "And you? You're one of them?" "Yes. One of the last." Suddenly the ground shook gently. Lights flickered. Something outside the chamber had changed. Saul closed his eyes for a moment. "Earth is waking," he said. "The systems, they feel me." "What do you mean?" Sarek asked. Saul pointed upward. "There are machines in the sky, satellites, drones, weapons. They're turning on again. They feel my mind." Sarek opened his scanner. He saw it too. Energy surges all over Earth. Places that had been silent for thousands of years were alive again. Factories buried under oceans, towers inside mountains, orbiting stations, all turning on. "This is impossible," Sarek whispered. "For others, maybe," Saul said, "but not for Earth." He began walking out of the chamber. Sarek followed him, still overwhelmed. As they stepped out onto the surface, Saul looked up at the sky. His eyes glowed brighter. Somewhere above them, a hidden human satellite adjusted its orbit. And then, Saul spoke one word: connect. Suddenly, a beam of light shot down from the clouds. It touched Saul's armor and wrapped around his arm like a ribbon of data. Saul's mind linked with Earth's old systems. In seconds, he saw everything: old human cities, secret bunkers, weapon vaults, deep core reactors, and far away in space, a foreign signal. Saul frowned. "You sent a signal when you found me," Saul said to Sarek. "Yes," Sarek admitted. "To the Thalkar Dominion. They'll come." "They already have," Saul replied. "A small fleet just entered orbit. They are watching us." Sarek looked up, nervous. "They'll think you're dangerous." Saul didn't move. "They are not wrong." Sarek felt a chill. "What will you do?" "Nothing. Yet," Saul said. "Let them watch." Above Earth, Thalkar Scout Ship Captain Velon of the Thalkar Dominion sat in his command chair, staring at the blue-green planet below. His crew watched the readings. "Unbelievable," his science officer said. "This planet was dead. Now it's alive." Velon narrowed his eyes. "What caused the energy spike?" The officer hesitated. "A humanoid figure. Reactivated multiple systems by himself. Gravity engines, orbital weapons, solar collectors, all linked to him. Somehow." Velon stood. "One being did all this?" "Yes, sir. And there's more. He looks human." Velon clenched his fists. "Send the report back home and prepare for possible engagement." Back on Earth, Saul walked through the ruins of the city. Wherever he stepped, things began to heal. Cracked stone mended. Rusted. Metal glowed. It was like time itself listened to him. Sarek followed close behind. "You're rebuilding?" "No," Saul said. "I'm remembering." They entered an old human tower, mostly broken. Saul raised his hand. The walls shook. Lights turned on. A control chair rose from the floor. Saul sat, and screens appeared before him, some in ancient human language, some in alien code. He scanned the galaxy. "Much has changed," he said. "Yes," Sarek replied. "Many empires rose and fell. The Thalkar are one of the biggest powers now." Saul looked at him. "And do they bring peace?" Sarek hesitated. "They bring order, but not always peace." Saul stood again. "Then maybe the galaxy still needs us." "Are you going to bring humans back?" Sarek asked. Saul looked toward the sky. "They will return when it is time. But first I must remind the stars what humans were." Above, Thalkar Decision Captain Velon received orders from the Dominion Council. "Capture the being. Study it. Do not allow ancient human tech to rise again." Velon nodded. "Prepare landing craft. We're going in. On Earth?" The warning Saul looked up. "They are coming." "Can you stop them?" Sarek asked. Saul smiled faintly. "If I wanted to, their ships would already be ash." "Then why don't you?" "Because I want them to see." The sky broke open with light as Thalkar. Ships entered the atmosphere. Soldiers in black armor stepped out, weapons ready. Saul walked forward, alone. He raised his hand slowly. The weapons of the soldiers melted in their hands. Their ships froze mid-air, engines offline. The air grew quiet. Saul spoke calmly. "I am Saul, guardian of Earth. I do not seek war, but I will not bow the Thalkar." Soldiers fell back. They had seen weapons, they had seen power, but they had never seen this. Not destruction, control. Sarek watched in silence. He understood now. Saul was not just a man. He was Earth's memory, Earth's will, and Earth's shield. And now he was awake. The Thalkar fleet above Earth was silent. Dozens of warships floated in space, watching the planet below. Each ship was built for power, sleek, fast, armed with plasma cannons and energy shields. They had won many battles across the galaxy. But now they were afraid. Captain Velan stood on the bridge of the lead battleship. His cold silver eyes stared at the screen. On it, he saw a tall figure, Saul, standing alone on Earth's surface. Around him, the ruins of a city were glowing. Machines moved again, energy flowed. Life was returning. "He stopped our landing teams without firing a shot," said the ship's science officer. "He didn't destroy them. He rewrote their weapons." Velan frowned. "What kind of being can control machines like that?" "Not just control," the officer whispered. "He speaks to them." Velan turned. "Send word to the Dominion Council. We need full authorization." On Earth, Saul stood at the edge of the ancient city. His eyes looked toward the sky where Thalkar ships watched him. His black and gold armor gleamed in the sunlight. Around him, the wind carried dust and memories. Sarek stood beside him, still trying to understand what he had seen. "You didn't hurt the soldiers," Sarek said. "Why?" "They didn't know what they were facing," Saul replied calmly. "I don't punish the blind. But they came to capture you." Saul nodded. "Yes, but not because they are evil. They are afraid. Fear clouds wisdom." Sarek was quiet for a moment. Then he asked, "What will you do now?" Saul pointed to the sky. "They're not done. The real army is coming." Thalkar High Council. Homeworld, a large room filled with light and shadows. The council sat in silence as they watched the live feed from Earth. On the screen, Saul stood alone, but the world around him was changing. Ancient satellites came online. Old defense towers rose from the seas. Orbiting platforms turned toward the stars. "He is activating the planet," said one counselor. "He is just one being," said another. "One being who controls a dead world," whispered the High Chancellor. "That is more dangerous than any fleet. What do we do?" The Chancellor made her decision. "Send the Judgment Fleet above Earth." 1 day later, the sky above Earth changed, space rippled, light bent, and then the Judgment Fleet arrived. 100 warships, carriers, destroyers, flagships. The Thalkar had not sent this many ships to a single system in 1,000 years. Their goal: remove the threat. Saul looked up from Earth's surface. He didn't move. He simply said, "So they choose fear." Sarek stepped forward. "They'll bomb the planet. They don't care who dies." "I know," Saul said. "That is why Earth must wake completely." He closed his eyes, and Earth responded. Across the planet, old bunkers deep under the ground opened. Towers rose from the oceans. Floating platforms appeared above cities. Machines shaped like birds and dragons flew into the skies. The skies turned silver. Satellites long thought destroyed blinked to life. They began linking together, forming a wide energy net around the planet. The Earth defense grid, long asleep, was awake again. Thalkar scanners panicked. Ships began to lose signal. Power systems failed. "What is happening?" Captain Velan shouted. "Sir," said his officer, "Earth is forming a shield, but it's not made of metal. It's made of data, pure information. Our ships can't read it." Velan stared at the screen. "Fire everything. Earth's first answer lasers, plasma cannons, missiles. The Thalkar fired everything they had. But as the weapons reached the planet, the energy net around Earth bent. The attacks slowed, then stopped in midair. Sarek gasped. "The weapons! They froze!" Saul raised his hand. The frozen weapons turned around and flew back, gently, not to destroy, but to show power. They landed softly on Thalkar ships. A message appeared on every Thalkar screen. "We do not return fire, but we do not fall," on the flagship captain. Valan's hands trembled. "We cannot win this," the science officer whispered. "He controls gravity, data, machines. He's not just a man. He's a force." "Pull back," Valan said. "Send a final message to the Council. Earth has a god, and he has awakened." Galactic reaction, the message spread quickly to pirate clans, trading unions, peaceful worlds, and hidden empires. Earth had returned. Some laughed, some panicked, some remembered old stories of humans who faced black holes, who battled monsters from beyond reality, who vanished when they became too strong. And now, one had come back. In the sky A's, the Thalkar ships pulled away. Saul looked at Sarek. "It is done," Saul said. "You didn't fight them," Sarek said. "I didn't need to." "But why spare them?" Saul turned. "Because this is not war. It is a lesson." "A lesson?" "Yes," Saul nodded. "That power is not to rule. It is to protect. The galaxy must remember that." Later. That night Saul sat alone on a high tower. He looked at the stars. Sarek approached. "What happens?" "Now," Saul smiled faintly. "Now, Earth will rise, slowly, carefully, and when the time is right, humans will return, not as conquerors, but as builders." "Will the galaxy accept that?" "Some will," Saul said. "Some won't. But they will remember one thing." "What's that?" "That once an alien fleet faced a human god and lived." The galaxy was never quiet again. After the Thalkar fleet returned home, every major race in the stars began watching Earth. News spread quickly. A human sleeping for thousands of years had awakened. A single being had stopped a full war fleet without violence, and the dead world of Earth was alive again. Some feared him, some worshipped him, but all remembered one thing. Earth had returned. On Earth, in the center of the ancient human city, Saul stood on a platform once used for great speeches. Around him, machines worked silently. Skyscrapers, once broken, now rose higher than before. Old trees grew fast with restored soil. The air was cleaner, the sky brighter. Sarek stood beside him, looking amazed. "You've rebuilt this much in just a few days," Sarek said. "How is it possible?" Saul smiled softly. "I didn't do it alone. Earth remembers." He pointed toward the horizon. Towers lit with blue light shimmered under the sun. Robots flew between them, carrying supplies. Roads repaired themselves. Energy flowed through the planet like blood in veins. "I used to think Earth was just a planet," Sarek said. "But it's something more, isn't it?" "Yes," Saul replied. "Earth is not just stone and soil. It is memory. It is home. And now, it is awakening fully." Elsewhere in the galaxy, aboard a council ship, the Galactic Council met in secret, far away from prying eyes. Thalkar, Yatari, Uven, and dozens of other powerful races sat in silence. A hologram of Saul hovered in the middle of the chamber. "He is a danger," one counselor said. "He stopped our fleets, controlled our machines. What if others, like him, still sleep?" "He hasn't attacked anyone," another counselor replied. "He's only restored his world. But power like that cannot be ignored." An old alien with many eyes leaned forward. "The humans left for a reason. They sealed themselves away because they feared their own strength. If one has returned, the rest may follow." "Then what do we do?" Silence. Then the Yatari ambassador spoke. "We must speak to him." Back on Earth, Saul stood on a high platform overlooking the sea. The water sparkled, alive again after being still for so long. Sarek approached with news. A Galactic Council ship is requesting permission. To land, Sarek said. They want to talk. Saul turned his eyes toward the sky. Let them come. Arrival of the Council. The Council ship was large, shaped like a silver crescent. It landed gently on a landing pad made by Earth's machines. The air shimmered. With calm energy, 5 ambassadors stepped out. All were tall, dressed in ceremonial clothes, each representing a powerful race. Saul walked forward to meet them. His armor gleamed. His steps were quiet but strong. He did not bow. He did not kneel, but he welcomed them. You come in peace? Saul asked. The Thalkar representative nodded. We do. Then speak. The Yatari stepped forward. Many are afraid, not of Earth, but of you. I understand, Saul said. Fear comes from the unknown. You stopped our fleets. You changed machines with your mind. How can we trust that you will not use this power to rule? Saul looked toward the sky. I did not return to rule. I returned to restore. The galaxy is broken in many places. I see planets dying, people suffering, wars for resources. That is not peace. That is survival. You plan to fix the galaxy? The Uven ambassador asked. No, Saul said. I plan to help others fix it themselves. A memory shared with. A wave of his hand, Saul showed them visions, holograms of what Earth once was. Cities floating in the sky, starships powered by stars, people of many races living together, building together. No weapons, no fear, just unity. This was Earth, Saul said. And this can be the galaxy again. The council members watched in silence. Some were moved. Others still held doubt. Can others visit Earth now? Asked the Thalkar. In time, Saul replied. Earth is still waking, but when she is ready, her gates will open. Sarek watched the moment carefully. He saw something powerful, but not in the technology or the machines or the armor. He saw hope. Across the galaxy, the news spread quickly again. The Galactic Council had met with the human guardian. There had been no war, no threats, only words. And for the first time in many years, something changed in the galaxy. A pirate clan near the broken star belt surrendered and asked for aid. A small planet ruled by warlords sent a message to Earth, asking for healing tech. And far in the stars, in a forgotten system, a small human ship blinked to life. Its crew, descendants of old humans, received a signal, a voice. Earth calls her children home. In the council, Ship A's the ambassadors prepared to leave. The Yatari turned to Saul. Some still want to destroy you. Be careful. I am not afraid, Saul said. I am not alone. As the ship rose into the sky, Sarek walked up beside Saul. You've done what no one believed possible, Sarek said. You changed the galaxy, without war. Saul nodded. Words are stronger than weapons, if the ears are open, and if they're not. Saul looked at the stars. Then they will learn. Later, that night, Earth's sky, the stars above. Earth looked different now. They didn't seem far anymore. Sarek sat by a quiet lake, watching a glowing tower in the distance. Saul stood nearby, silent, his eyes scanning the stars. Do you think more humans will return? Sarek asked. They will, Saul replied. Some are still out there, hiding, waiting. When they hear Earth's voice, they will come. What if the galaxy turns against you again? Saul looked down at his hand. Energy pulsed gently around it. Then Earth will remind them. He paused, but only if needed. Sarek smiled. You really are different. No, Saul said quietly. I am just human. And as the stars shined above them, the first true peace in ages began to grow, not through fear, not through power, but through the return of something long lost: hope. The stars above Earth were no longer quiet. Every hour, more signals arrived. Ships from distant worlds sent messages to Saul. Some were peaceful, some were fearful, a few were angry, but all of them shared one thought: Earth had returned, and, with it, a power the galaxy had forgotten. In the center of the reborn human city, Saul stood atop the sky platform, high above the clouds. His golden armor glowed with soft light. Machines moved silently around him, building new towers, cleaning old roads, and planting new life. Sarek, the Thalkar archaeologist who had awakened Saul, stood nearby. His silver eyes watched the sky. "A ship is coming," Sarek said. "Not from the council. Not from any known faction." Saul closed his eyes. He already knew. "Yes," he said. "They've come at last." Far above Earth, a strange ship appeared from a fold in space. Its shape was sharp, like a black crystal with burning red engines. It carried no banners. Its code did not match any known galactic record, but Saul knew who they were: the Xyrax Order, a hidden race that had stayed silent for centuries. They did not believe in peace. They believed in domination. Long ago, they had tried to conquer parts of the galaxy. Humans had stopped them. Now, they had returned. Inside the Xyrax, ship commander Vrel of the Xyrax Order stood with his arms crossed. His face was cold and cruel, with skin like dark stone and glowing red eyes. "So this is the human god?" he sneered. "One man wakes up and the galaxy bows?" The officer next to him nodded. "We scanned the planet. He's using tech we don't understand. No weapons detected, but his power affects space, data, and even matter." Vrel laughed. "Then we test him, prepare the drop pods." Earth's surface. Arrival of the Xyrax. The sky above Earth cracked open. 10 large black pods shot down like comets, smashing into the ground near the city. From each one, tall armored warriors stepped out. Their armor was black, covered in red lights. Each held a blade of energy. Sarek stepped back in fear. "Those aren't scouts. They're elite shock troops." Saul said nothing. The lead warrior stepped forward. He raised his blade and pointed at Saul. "You are Saul, guardian of Earth?" Saul nodded once. "I am Vrak of the Xyrax. You will kneel." "Before the power of the new order." Saul didn't move. "This is Earth, and here I kneel to no one." Vrak growled and raised his blade. Before it could fall, Saul moved. In a blink, he stood inches away from Vrak. He placed one hand on the warrior's chest. A flash of light. Vrak's armor melted off. His weapon vanished. He fell to his knees, not from pain, but from shock. What did you do?" "I removed your rage," Saul said quietly. "I replaced it with understanding." The other Xyrax warriors, the others charged. Sarek shouted, "Saul, look out!" But Saul didn't raise a weapon. Instead, he lifted his hand. The ground around the warriors glowed. It rose into the air and gently wrapped around them like vines. Their weapons turned to dust. Their movements stopped. They were not harmed. They were calm. Saul walked between them. "I am not your enemy," he said, "but I will protect this world." From the sky, Commander Vrel watched with disbelief. "He stopped my best soldiers, without killing them." His officer stepped back. "We must retreat!" But Vrel shouted, "No! Fire the main cannon!" In orbit, a desperate act, the Xyrax ship charged its core weapon. A massive red beam gathered at its front. It was powerful enough to destroy a moon. Sarek looked up. "They're going to fire." Saul closed his eyes. "I gave them a chance." He raised both hands to the sky. The beam fired. As it came closer, time seemed to slow. Then just before it hit Earth, The sky itself split. A golden shield of pure energy appeared, powered not by machines, but by Saul's will. The beam hit the shield and vanished. No sound, no explosion, just silence. And then the Zyrax ship's power core overloaded. Its lights blinked. Its engines died. It drifted, powerless. Later, piece after power, the Zyrax survivors were brought to a clean, quiet place on Earth. Their weapons were gone, but they were not prisoners. Saul sat with Vrak and spoke calmly. "We could have ended you," he said. "But we didn't," Vrak asked. "Why?" "Because I remember a time when we fought to protect, not to destroy. That time can return." Vrak lowered his head. "We don't know how to live without war." "Then I will teach you." Across the galaxy, the message was sent to all corners of space. The Zyrax order attacked Earth. They were stopped, not by violence, but by peace. Let this be the way forward. Many could not believe it, but it was true, and slowly, one by one, ships began to visit Earth, not to conquer, but to learn. 1 month later, the human city was alive again. People from other worlds walked its streets. Thalkar, Yatari, Uvin, and even Zyrax warriors stood side by side. Sarek watched children from 5 different species playing together in the park. He smiled. Saul stood beside him. "You changed everything," Sarek said. "No," Saul replied. "They did. But you showed the way." Saul looked toward the stars, and now they will light their own path. One final visit late one night, a small ship landed quietly. No weapons, no banners. A single young girl stepped out. She had dark hair, sharp eyes, and wore a necklace with an earth symbol. Saul walked toward her. The girl smiled. "Are you Saul?" "Yes," he said kindly. "I think I'm human. My parents told me stories about Earth, about where we came from." Saul knelt in front of her, then welcome home. She looked around. "It's beautiful. It's just the beginning." Final words. As the stars shined brightly above, Saul walked through the city. Machines worked, people laughed, and the galaxy slowly began to heal. He wasn't just a warrior. He wasn't just a guardian. He was a reminder that sometimes one human with wisdom, memory, and peace can change the whole galaxy. And when an alien faces such a human god, they do not find a destroyer. They find hope.